Hello everybody and welcome back to another video by GripBeats. Today we're going to be using the GripBeats desktop app for Mac, although we also have it for Windows, so don't feel that you're excluded. The same concepts apply. We're going to play around with it, see what we can come up with, and hopefully learn some new tricks in the process. So if you haven't already checked out our previous tutorials, check them out because it teaches you how to connect your GripBeats device to your Mac and then respectively to the GripBeats desktop app also. So what you want to do is you want to go to, for connecting, you want to go to turn on your GripBeats device, go to audio MIDI setup, find your GripBeats device as I have here, make sure it's the right one, it will show up in a second. Bluetooth has to be on, click connect, right? So after you click connect, you can go to the GripBeats desktop app here, and you want to refresh your inputs, find the GripBeats Bluetooth device specifically, and then you should see data. If you're not seeing data, if you see something like this tab, make sure you've expanded the tab. That's a simplified version of the data, the raw data being shown there. You can see how for the roll I'm getting pitch response. So we'll actually interchange that in the GripBeats desktop app in a second. The roll likewise is getting a pitch response and the pitch is getting a roll response. Yours is accurate. You know, you move to the right, we get a positive response there. Move to the left, we get a negative. So you want to expand that view, go to process. So now it's the same data, but now displayed in a different visual display. Notice how, okay, roll does appear to be linked there. But in any case, what you want to do after connecting your GripBeats device and opening up the GripBeats desktop app is calibrating both your device and also the desktop app. So firstly, to calibrate your GripBeats device, you click and hold the power button for 2 pulses. It's not 2 seconds. Release after the second pulse. Wait a couple seconds. It should release another vibration like a heartbeat, boom boom, to indicate that it's been completed. That should then indicate that your GripBeats device has been calibrated. What you want to do then is calibrate your respective minimum maximum values on the GripBeats desktop app. So my minimum roll is going to be here. It's like a 180 degrees origin or reverse origin. And then I want my max roll to be the origin. So you can see how let's try that again. See? Okay, you see how I've now mapped the roll to the roll on the GripBeats desktop app. Remember how I mentioned that the roll and the pitch seem to be interchanged at the beginning of this video? Well, if that's the case, then just click this little I button, that will swap them around. Why? You might be wondering, why is the data being interchanged like that or not necessarily being calibrated with your min and max from the beginning? Well, the device doesn't know what your min and max are for a start, so you have to calibrate those. Sometimes when you turn on the GripBeats device, it assumes that it's at a position that's not typical, and therefore it switches it translates data inaccurately. That's why we've got this GripBeats desktop app to allow us to update that. So with the pitch as well, we want to calibrate that. So my max is here, my min is here. It doesn't matter which one you start with, so that's calibrated. The roll is still correct. Your is showing negative there, so I'm going to put your negative right, positive there to the right, and your negative to the left. So that's it. There you go. So those gyroscope values have now been calibrated for pitch, roll, yaw. There's nothing else you need to calibrate. Pressure sensors, as you can see, are already responsive. The way it's wrapped around my hand means that when I press with my fingers, I access the higher range of the pressure sensors. But a person with a smaller hand might actually be pressing them sooner because the device wraps around their hand sooner. So you might see more of the notes here being pressed. Anyway, that's just for the sake of showing you the raw data. What I want to show you is what you can actually do on a DAW such as Ableton with this. So by default, already preset in the software is the ability to trigger notes, rotate and change them with rotation. So the way we would do this is, firstly, we want to select the output. Now, the reason why we say we recommend using a bus, which, as mentioned in previous tutorials, is a specific channel, is so that you can isolate this specific GripBeats desktop app data. You don't want any other data coming through, for example, the raw data of the GripBeats device. We don't want that because that's going to confuse, create a lot of noise. So when you do select the output on your GripBeats desktop app there, and select the respective input on your MIDI device, your DAW program. So in this case, Ableton, and I've got this MIDI track named Bell and Swell. Go to MIDI from for the input and choose the same driver, the same channel I was calling it, bus, that you chose here. We have a tutorial on how to create a bus or a driver in case you don't know how. As always, if you have any questions, let us know. So now the data coming out of the GripBeats desktop app is going into the Ableton, so that when I arm this track, you're going to start to hear the melody. Okay, so right now I'm on this chord section, so I'll come off chords. So what I'm trying to show you here is how the rotation is mapped to the pitch of the scale. And you just have to find that sweet spot to be able to play it reliably. Now, there's all these extra dials, knobs, bells and whistles to help you with the sensitivity. For example, if you feel like you're not triggering the notes, you can increase the sensitivity. But there's different ways of also triggering the notes. For example, we've got this button here which says free. There's also the option, okay, I see what's going on. So when it says press, let's mute that a minute. When it says press, it means that it's on the free mode, which allows you to rotate your hand freely without needing to press the device in order to trigger the note. So essentially you have a free hand and you can play with the whole scale. So let me unmute that for you. Now, what's also interesting, exciting, is that you can change the scale as well within the GripBeats desktop app. So if you go to this right-hand section of the page, to get there, you have to go to click Effect, if you haven't already. And you go to Mode under, actually, it's not the section of Filter Repeated Notes, but it is in that box. You go to Mode, click the little button, and you've got a whole list of all the scales you can use. So if I go Chromatic, chromatic scale. If I go Ionian, you get an Ionian scale. If you want something blues, for example, all the way at the bottom we've got blues. Well, that's interesting. That sounds more modal, but there are some interesting ones, like the minor pentatonic. I like the minor pentatonic. See, that's quite nice. You can imagine soloing over some chords there. What I want to show you is how you can actually change the sound as well, the actual instrument itself. So if you go to Ableton, you can always unmute this, by the way, so that you don't have to hear it. There's all these different bells. Depends what you want, really. So I don't know why bells is here. Let's go to synth keys. That's kind of nice. So let's go with a soft chord, synth keys. See what that sounds like. And arm the track. Remember to arm the track down here. That's quite synthy, that's quite. Now notice how these lower notes aren't we're not reaching it. At the same time, the roll isn't showing that it's going to the min. So, and even though my hand is at the minimum position, therefore you might have to recalibrate. So I'm going to click here for the minimum, and now I get to the lower note. You see that? Now, playing individual notes is one thing. I will just show you how the press, when you click press and it shows free, you're in now press mode. So assuming the pressure sensors aren't being prematurely triggered, you should now only be able to trigger the notes when you press the notes. All right, so here. In theory, that's the theory of this. So I've reduced the sensitivity, which suggests that that's one. But I want to, in theory, if you look at it, the pressure sensors are always being triggered because it's being wrapped. So that's why you want to adjust the sensitivity so that you find that correct threshold to trigger them and therefore be able to play. But again, if that's not playing, if that's messing up for you, it could be something on our end or possibly on your end. Just go to the free mode and express yourself freely. So, as I was saying, it's one thing to be able to play notes individually. It's another to be able to play chords. And this is perhaps my favorite part of the GripBeats desktop app. If you go to the chord section of the bottom right of the GripBeats desktop app, you click chord. You can choose the number of slices, i.e. the number of chords you want to be able to trigger using the roll. And again, there's two ways of displaying this visually. One is, you can use the pressure mode, where it will display for you the position you're at, and therefore when you want to trigger the chord, you squeeze. And when you do squeeze, it should show, it should highlight red, a bit like how the notes here were red when we squeezed. However, then for some reason not triggering right now. So it's the same issue I was mentioning before with the free mode. So what I would recommend is just play freely. And on this visual display, you do not see where your position is on the chord visualization, but you do see it on the roll. So you can assume that if you're in the middle at the top there, you're approaching therefore the top kind of third here. It's also a 360 degree rotation. So if you're here, I'm going to trigger the third. If I'm here, sometimes you just have to recalibrate. Hang on. Wait a second. Okay. There you go. So there you go. So all I had to do there was recalibrate, and you can actually see the visual display. So regardless of what I said about what you should and shouldn't be able to see, you can see now in free mode, you can see the position. I beg your pardon. This whole time, when you see free being displayed, that indicates that you're in the free mode. And in order to play those chords, you have to press and then release. Whereas in this other mode, which we are likely to rename at some point, so just for the sake of demonstration here, take notes. Pressure on these is the note is triggered when you press the note. Okay, which I kind of like in this position situation. I'm going to change the tonality to a Dorian. And I'm going to add the slices to, change the slices to 4, so we've got perfect quarters there. So a few people have asked me, how do you write a song? Well, in many songs you need to start with the chords, right? Dun, 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 dun. And it's just about learning that position that position practice with your device. So you can imagine looping this. If you feel that you're only wanting to use 2 chords, you can go to 2 slices there. And your next question is probably, actually before I get into showing you how to make your own chords, I want to try a different sound. Everything's so synthy on this, huh? Maybe a basic pad would be better. Let's go with 5th glass motion. I assume that's what it says here, motion pad. Okay. See, this is lovely when you play this kind of stuff. And when you've got those kind of melodies, those instruments that play for really sustained, it's always nice to have more than just 2 chords. So remember, you can reference the roll and the top left there for your position, as well as the bottom right. You might be ambitious, you might want to try even more slices, like 8 for example. All the chords are preset, so you don't have to worry about making your own chords. You might not want to squeeze for triggering, you might want to squeeze for release. That mode was made to be a lot more of a kind of hands-free experience. But just do bear in mind that in order to mute, you have to press. In a way, squeezing mutes everything, releasing plays the note, so you can do something like. So there you go, that's quite fun. I'm going to make a separate tutorial on how to make your chords because that takes a little longer. But for the sake of this demonstration, I wanted to show you how, of course, you connect your GripBeats to your desktop app using Mac in this example, but it also applies to Windows. And how you can play with the scale, but also the chords of the GripBeats desktop app. I've shown you how you can adjust the sensitivity. I've shown you how you can change from free to pressed mode. Of course, you can see there's plenty of other dials here. I've also shown you how to change the scale. In a separate video, I'll show you how to make the chords, how to actually assign acceleration data to various in and outputs, and also play with some other controls such as the theremin, so you don't even necessarily need a DAW, you can just play. If we can, let's have a look. This is kind of fun. And you can change the mapping of the parameters here, so. But we'll do this in a separate video. If you have any questions on any of this, let us know. Thank you for tuning in. We're here to help. We hope you have a great time expressing yourself using GripBeats. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.